Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sally's first aid crisis, Carter's story for Kane. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 25th, reveal that Sally Spectra will assist with a first aid crisis, while Carter has a story for Kane Ashby. Nikki Newman will also be cornered, so here's what Y&R viewers may expect. Nick Newman will be at risk of bleeding out in the storage area. Thus he will require more first aid training than Sharon Newman and Billy Abbott can provide. Sally will apparently have some knowledge in that area, so she will intervene and work to stop Nick's blood loss. Kane has been telling his visitors that they are stranded without mobile coverage, but Billy may try to find him and see if there is a way to contact for help after all. Kane's phone secretly works, so he may have to give in and get Nick some help eventually. In the meantime, Kane will press his assistant for answers after Carter accidentally incriminated himself. It appears that Carter planted the knife under Nick's sink, or at least knows who did. Of course, this will raise doubts about whether Carter also killed Damian Kane. Did Carter genuinely target Damian? Or did he just show up in the aftermath and try to cast suspicion on Nick? Carter could claim he knew Kane would appear guilty and was attempting to keep his boss out of jail. Damian's murder may have been committed by Carter, but what if someone else was responsible? It's worth considering because Nikki will be trapped in Friday's drama-filled episode. What if the true killer goes after Nikki while Carter is being interrogated? Carter cannot be in two locations at the same time, hence someone else could be responsible for the murder. Regardless, Victor Newman will take command as more drama unfolds, so he may come to Nikki's aid and save her from a terrible end. Kane's chaos, Nikki's danger, and a medical crisis. Kane Ashby will be reeling from how out of control his position has become. Meanwhile, Nikki Newman faces peril. There will also be a medical emergency, so let's begin. Nikki Newman's danger. Let's start with Nikki, who will be in peril. Kane is not interested in physically harming anyone. However, with all of these secrets and mind games, it's difficult to believe. Fans are well aware that Victor Newman rushes to Nikki's rescue barely in time. Kane Ashby's chaos. Kane's game has escalated into a genuine murder. Kane did not kill Damian Kane. Someone is undoubtedly staging the situation to make it appear as if he is at fault. It's also making Kane question those closest to him, the ones he relies on the most. Kane and Amanda Sinclair have already accused each other of betrayal, yet both are innocent. Kane probably never sent anyone down the mountain to call the cops. So, he'll have to start being honest before someone else dies. Nick Newman's injuries. According to the Young and the Restless spoilers for next week, Nick Newman will need medical attention after a scuffle. Victor will demand vengeance, but Kane will once again pretend he had nothing to do with Nick's attack. If it turns out Kane was lying about there being no service, everyone may begin to demand that they call their loved ones. Kyle Abbott will seek to soothe Claire Grace Newman, who has been struggling with Cole Howard's death. Meanwhile, Audra Charles will need to contact Nate Hastings, who may have to determine how to inform Amy Lewis. Nate is quite perceptive and will sense something wrong in Audra's speech. Of course, Nate's shock at Damian's death may cause him to be less insightful than normal. Week of July 28, 2025. Back in Genoa City, Chelsea Lawson and Adam Newman will continue to spy on Holden Novak. Meanwhile, Claire can continue to rely on Holden for assistance while Kyle is away. Nick arrested after Kane destroys crucial evidence? Young and the Restless spoilers include Damian's murder and Nick's frame-up. So, by the conclusion of this week, Damian's murder has everyone on edge, with the majority of the chateau suspecting Kane of the dirty deed and Nick of being framed. So, as Y&R comes to an end this week, Nick is still distraught over the knife that was planted in his railcar. While Jack Abbott believes Nick would never do this, Billy Abbott is less convinced. He believes his ex-brother Nick might have stabbed Damian Kane. And that's not a good way to think. I mean, Victoria Newman would be furious to hear Billy say that about her brother Nick. So of course, Nick believes Kane is framing him and keeping the French police away from the crime scene to allow time to clean up and destroy evidence such as DNA. Nick believes that because the cops were not called and we are now out of jurisdiction, all of the evidence has been contaminated. Perhaps it is lost. Clearly things have shifted. Nick also believes Kane killed Damian. And he's upset when Phyllis Summers questions what he's saying about Kane, that he did it. Then Nick lashes out, accusing Phyllis of just believing in the other guy for no reason and selling her soul to get this job with Kane.
Sharon and Phyllis's perspectives on the charges against Kane. Of course, Sharon Newman is completely on Nick's side. And Phyllis insists that all Kane received was a broken heart from Lily Winters, and that he does not deserve these murder charges. That's making her ex-husband very unhappy. And Nick claims that Phyllis will sit there and watch her new employer Kane send him to jail for a crime that Nick did not commit. Then, Phyllis defended Kane, telling Nick, "Look, Kane was with me, so he couldn't have been the one who planted the dagger in your rail car." To summarize, Phyllis does not want to confront Nick. But he's wound up and acting like Mr. Poopy Pants. And he stomps off. This is his mode, Nick the Stick, in which he has something up his backside. However, in this case, he is justified. He's being falsely accused of murder. Y&R Restless Spoilers, Sharon's unexpected reaction. So Sharon is actually being nice to Phyllis, who again claims Kane is innocent. She claims she could tell he wasn't guilty just by the look on his face. At the close of the week on Y&R Restless, Sharon and Phyllis are wondering who should frame Nick for Damien's murder. Phyllis and Sharon believe that the Abbotts and Winters would not do this. So they wouldn't be framing Nick. And Phyllis is thinking that this leaves Sally Spectra. Sharon is talking about Audra Charles, and they are discussing about Kane's employees, including Carter and Amanda Sinclair. And we know there are some more random employees hanging around. Next week's drama includes Victor's investigation and Nick's house arrest. However, Nick Newman's situation will worsen significantly next week. So, first and foremost, his father, Victor Newman, is unhappy with the framing and all of this. And he's grilling Kane's assistant, Carter, the cunning little kid. Victor is basically accusing Kane of killing Damien and wants to know if Kane told Carter about his plan to assassinate Damien Kane. Carter tells Victor that he would do anything for Kane. But that's not what Victor is implying. So Nick's dad is definitely concerned about the frame job. Also, following week, Carter arrives to Nick's door on the rail car, accompanied by a security officer. So Nick is unhappy and says to Carter, "What do you want?" Nick is already angry, and Carter says they are going to arrest him. Once again, it's only a security guard. So they're calling it house arrest. However, with real officers on the way, this might develop into a legitimate arrest. Carter informs Nick that putting him into prison is for Kane's safety and the peace of mind of the other guests. "I don't think any of the other guests are concerned Nick will murder them. And you know this isn't going to sit well with Nick because they're literally coming to his door and saying, 'We think you killed Damien and we think you're still plotting to kill Kane.'" Security footage tampering and Chance's investigation. So, speaking about Lily Winters' ex-husband, Chance Chancellor, and Kane are analyzing all of the surveillance footage from the cameras he has put throughout the home. When it comes to the location in the maze and the time of the murder, there is no footage. It looks like the cameras were turned off or something was erased. So, Chance wants to know who has access to this area, and Kane responds that it is me, Carter, and Amanda. Chance suspects that either Carter or Amanda destroyed some of the footage. Kane says it's not him, claiming that the footage would have shown he's innocent. And based on what we saw in the episode, it certainly would have. So, next week, Amanda walks into Kane's office, where the camera feeds are. She watches him reviewing all of the security footage. Amanda asks Kane what he's up to. He claims he is trying to locate the footage. Amanda is concerned, however, that Kane is in there erasing potentially evidence-worthy material. Amanda warns Kane that this is the worst thing he can do. But, oddly, he believes Amanda was the one who deleted footage. So it could be Carter doing it because Amanda and Kane, if they're being honest, are telling each other they're not doing it. Carter appears to be a suspicious individual. Increased danger and Audra's fear. There's also more threat afoot next week on the Y&R Restless. At the end of the week, Chance Chancellor informs Nick that some surveillance footage is missing. And, of course, Nick completely loses it. Then he claims that Kane is manipulating and setting up things. Nick wants Chance to do something. Obviously, he has no jurisdiction. And suddenly Kane approaches them. Nick assures that he will get to the bottom of this. This is critical before someone else is injured or killed. So there is bigger danger next week. Someone is keeping an eye on other guests and lurking around, much like they did before Damien was attacked. Next week, we'll see Audra and Lily possibly in danger. But, hey, if you haven't seen Friday's episode yet, just a quick reminder. Audra is so disturbed by the crime that she goes to inform Kyle Abbott that Damien was killed. And, guess what? Kyle opens the door, dripping wet in a low-slung towel, all abs on display, nothing else on. And Audra is acting afraid, which appears to be legitimate. Yes, she is. But then she tells Kyle that she feels safe with him. Audra and Kyle start kissing. We knew they would cross lines this week. So next week, we'll see how far that went. Audra and Lily are in danger inside the maze. Also, next week, Audra Charles is in the maze with Lily Winters when they hear something, and Audra appears terrified and calls out who is there. And she was already afraid, but Kyle's kiss seemed to calm her down. Now she's terrified again. The good news is that Audra is wearing the same dress in these scenes with Lily as she was when she was making out with Kyle. So hoping that dress stays on and Audra and Kyle don't go beyond kissing. We will see. And be sure to check back tomorrow for our complete Young and the Restless weekly spoilers for July 21st through July 25th. Audra's desperation, Nikki blasts Kane, and Nick's blood-soaked future. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Tuesday, July 22nd suggest that Nick and Sharon Newman face peril, while Nikki Newman confronts Citizen Kane Ashby and gives him a piece of her mind. Citizen Kane told off. Nikki blasts Kane for risking her loved ones and reminds him who he's dealing with, Victor Newman. Kane must take responsibility for Damien Kane's death and the following setup of her son Nick. What will she do when she realizes that her kid has been placed under home arrest by creepy Deaky Carter? Sharon is with him on house arrest, and the two are fed up with the pranks. Tuesday's episode has Schick under house arrest. Sharon and Nick are confined, and as is often in such situations, they are not completely safe. They are being monitored by an armed guard, who could be the murderer. Nick is hurt between July 21st and 25th. And the build-up to this gripping moment is ominous and unavoidable, like a tornado in the horizon. During the week of July 21st to 25th, danger awaits. Meanwhile, Victor speaks with Audra Charles. Where is the proof that he can utilize against Kyle Abbott? Victor wants his granddaughter Claire Newman to be free of the bum, and Audra will have a fully funded firm if she comes through. If Audra fails on her erotic goal, De Bronte will rip the rug out from under her and send her back to begging for crumbs. The Young and the Restless spoilers, Audra's desperation, Nikki blasts Kane, and Nick's blood-soaked future. The motivational talk fuels Audra's fire, but Kyle isn't naive, he knows she has a plan. Fierce Audra will not give up. Can Audra provide the goods for Victor without blowing her cover? It's a monumental task, but we believe the sexy minx is up to it. She is determined to have her cake and have it too, and we might see her do something bold and drastic this week. According to Explosive The Young and the Restless spoilers, Audra will double down on her quest to dominate the world, and Kyle should be very worried. Can Sharon finally break free from the kidnapping curse? The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates indicate that many fans are urging the show to end the captivity storylines involving Sharon Newman. Is it feasible for this character to break the curse of kidnapping? Too many kidnapped damsel in distress stories. Sharon Case is an accomplished actress capable of portraying a wide range of narratives, but she has suddenly found herself in a repeated predicament. Sharon has been kept against her will on multiple occasions in recent months. Initially, she became Jordan's prisoner in the sewer, which was a frightening experience for her. The following kidnapping occurred while Sharon and Phyllis Summers were imprisoned in an old psychiatric facility and subjected to Martin Lawrence psychological manipulations. Sharon and Nick Newman are currently under house arrest at Kane Ashby's estate, but let's be honest, they are being held captive. Sharon is traumatized by the kidnapping scenarios. Sharon had been through so much trauma from her kidnappings that she had a panic attack in that storage room. It is clear that all of her captivity experiences are having a mental toll on her. While a compelling hostage storyline can be entertaining on occasion, are Y&R pushing the envelope with Sharon's constant kidnappings? It's starting to feel overly repetitive, prompting many people to express their worries on social media. Soap operas have a wide range of issues to explore, therefore it would be nice to see more variety in Sharon's stories in the future. Sharon must have other storylines besides kidnappings. There are certainly other scenarios in which Sharon could find herself that do not involve her confinement. The kidnapping stories are becoming tiresome and uninteresting. Once Sharon's recent tragedy is over, focusing on her love life may be a sensible decision, allowing her to find, or possibly recapture, true love for a change. If the show allows Nick and Sharon to reunite, it may finally deliver on what fans have been asking for. Nonetheless, Sharon may grow tired of her attempts to get out of the friend zone, and if that happens, she may explore a relationship with another man. It would be intriguing to watch Sharon develop feelings for someone fresh and go on a new beginning, maybe one that is more stable this time around.